Hey, Trevor Jones here from smsagent.blog. Thank you for joining me on this video. We're going to be looking at creating a PowerShell runbook in our Azure automation account. That's going to be responsible for exporting the data from Microsoft Intune for our Patch My PC apps and updates, and saving those into CSV format, and then uploading them into our Azure storage account, where they will serve as the data source for our Power BI report. So let's go ahead and look at our automation account and set up the runbook. But first of all, we need to add a couple of modules. So these are dependencies for the script, and we need to get those installed in the automation account first. So the first one is az.accounts. Okay, let's import that. Now, if we hop over to the modules blade, we'll see that its current status is importing. It can take a few minutes to import, so we'll speed things up for you. Okay, that's now imported. It's important that you do that one first, because the second module we need to import, AZ storage, has a dependency on this AZ account. So get that one done first. Let's go back to the modules gallery and search for AZ storage. And import this. Okay, both modules are now available. So then let's go to the Runbooks blade and let's create a runbook. I'm going to call this export ms graph patch my PC data, or data if you're from somewhere else in the world. Okay, create. Now the content of the runbook is in my docs site, which I have a copy of here. So let's copy and paste into the editor. And there's, at the top of the script, there's a couple of variables that you need to set. So the first is the resource group name, and that is the resource group that is hosting your storage account. So mine is called report automation. And then the storage account name, so that's going to be SMS agent SA01. And then you want the container name, so this is the container in the storage account that you created that's going to contain the CSV files that we upload. And that's basically all you need to configure in the script. The script is set up to use a managed identity, but you can also use a run as account if you wish. So if you prefer to use a run as account, then you need to comment out the managed identity sections and uncomment the run as account sections. So it's basically going to do the same thing. It's going to authenticate, get access token for Microsoft Graph and Azure AD. So after we've done that, we run a web request against Microsoft Graph, and we get the list of apps and updates in Intune that have been created by Patch My PC. So those will have a property on the notes field, which begins with PMP. So it would be PMP app ID or PMP update ID, for example. So that enables us to filter just the apps that are managed by Patch My PC. So once we've got that list, we convert it into a data table. We separate the apps from the updates, and we filter out those that are not assigned. And then we export into CSV format. We also run a couple of status reports in Intune, so the device install status report and the app status overview report for both apps and updates, and then we export those into CSV format as well. And finally, we upload those CSV files into our storage account in the container that we created. Now you can actually test this runbook before saving it if you want, using the test pane. I actually prefer to save and publish and then just run it as you would normally, because then you get the full output of the script. If there are in case there are any errors, you can see them. So let's click start. So you can see here it's queued, and now it's running. The amount of time the runbook takes depends on the amount of data you have in Microsoft Graph to export. So in my experience, not more than a minute or two. Okay, we can see that it's completed. If we click on outputs, we can see that it's created blobs in the storage account, and there are no errors, so that's good. Now if we hop over to our storage account, let's find that. Storage accounts. If we look in the container we created, we should then see the files. There we go. So we've got 6 CSV files that have been exported by the automation script. Now the last thing to do is set this to run on a schedule. So we're going to click link to schedule on the runbook. And I don't have a schedule, so I'm going to create one, and I'm going to call it every 3 hours. Let's start that at 6 o'clock. It's going to be recurring every 3 hours with no expiration. And create. Okay. Basically that's it, it's done. So that's going to run every 3 hours and get the latest data from Intune and export it as CSV files into our storage account. And that will be the data source for our Patch My PC report, which we will look at in the next video. Thank you for joining me.